Good evening. It is Thursday, December 2nd. This is a Genius Kev bringing you legit fantasy basketball, brought to you by ripodcast.com, legitpodcast.com, and several other domains that we currently own and are expanding almost daily. One thing I want to say is that intro music gets me ready for basketball. I don't know, there's something about it. It's basketball music, so you got to thank the king for that. But tonight's show is going to be kind of a little bit more relaxed. The Thursday night show where we dig deep on some topics. We maybe get a little outlandish on some others. But I'm excited to ask the guys some questions tonight. And being a genius, most times people are asking me questions. But tonight we're going to flip it. We're going to kind of probe the coach on some things about a couple of games I watched. Talk to the king about some of the games we're going to bet tonight since he's been pretty hot. So that said, we're going to bring on the king. How you doing tonight?
What is going on, genius? How are we tonight?
Oh, great! You gotta hear what I did on Tuesday and Wednesday. You and Coach are gonna love it.
I got two things. First off, one, this is a handmade Ray Corsini meat. That's the principal from Breakfast Club. Ray Corsini made this shirt. It's a one of a kind.
That's awesome.
And then secondly, I'd like to say rest in peace to the big ragu. Passed on today.
Really?
Yeah, from Laverne and Shirley. The big ragu passed on today. I forget his real
terrible
name. I apologize, but I know him as Carmine. And Carmine passed away today. Yeah,
that's awful.
There it is.
Well, we'll try to lift our spirits a little bit. We'll bring the coach on. TJ, how you doing today?
Pretty good, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
All
right. So King, on the last show, you used a word I hadn't heard in a long time. I believe it was Twick or the Twick. So on Tuesday, we did the show on Monday. So on Tuesday, I got in my car. I drove down to KC Field, brought one of my daughter's basketballs since I don't have a men's basketball anymore. And, I loosened up, did some full court layups, did some mic and drills, some jump hooks, up and unders. And I don't think I heard the Twick once.
No.
So you might be right.
Yeah.
So
you can't. If you're shooting at Casey Field, it's almost impossible. Those are like carnival rims over there. Remember when we were younger? If you hit any part of the rim at Casey Field, the ball may shoot up 30 feet in the air.
Yeah.
If you didn't use the backboard on layups, you never were going to make it at Casey Field. You had to go right to the side.
Like doing. Yeah.
And you would get like a slow bounce. Everyone would jump, and then it would spring up again. Like, I don't even know who built those rims. Like, they shouldn't exist. Like, everything I know about science tells me that kind of metal should not exist.
That's the double. That's the double rims. Those are the ones that are even at Evans Field that I've been trying to get rid of. The ones that are just like you hit it at Evans Field, man. If you slightly miss it, and you're never gonna get a roll. If you slightly miss the rim, just touch it. Pow!
Remember,
I've seen him go in the street. I've seen him go in the street from coaching the summer league. I swear to God.
Down there, we used to have single rims at Evans before they turned the court sideways. And it's not like we don't have a bunch of guys. This is not Rucker Park. We don't have a bunch of guys coming down there slamming down dunks. Like, just for the purposes of what Evans is, any kind of rim is fine. You can put a toy rim up there. It's not going to break.
Can I explain something to you, though? And this is a good forum. It's a good forum to do it at, right, Kev? I can talk for a second. So I want to say about 3 years ago, right? So now there's a league within our town, and they're just not they're not running it correctly. There's no hype behind it. They don't go to the games. Like you remember when the guy whoever you had at the time as the president of the league would show up at games, would do different things like that. I'm just being honest. This is what happens. So nowadays they don't care. All right. End of the year comes, they get into an argument, I guess, with Charlie about the cracks in the court, and they decide they're not going to have the summer league. Now, that summer league is run in Evans Field, Kev, forever. I mean, and it goes back to a history of like Ernie D with like Celtic players, Friar players coming down and playing at night. There was like an article written on how good Evans was. Evans is like a historic for us for basketball, all right? So I, within like a day, have to go get insurance for the whole league, all this stuff, just so the kids have a place to play for the summers. I ran it for 2 summers in a row, right? I must have lost, I want to say I lost $4,500 the first summer, and I had to lose at least 30 something 3,000 chains a second to run these, to pay the fucking refs, like and they would complain if there was only one ref. Like sometimes I want to be like, dude, you know what? You're lucky there's a ref tonight. Like, you know what? Play the games. So uniforms, everything. Had to buy a scoreboard, which I have. But the part of this that bothers me is that, like, they were going to give up on it. Like, what happened to basketball fans and basketball people? Especially what happened to this town with basketball? This town was built on basketball. For sport, North Providence, basketball. Ernie DiGregorio went from North Providence High School to the NBA Rookie of the year. That's what North Providence is. Evansfield was historic for that. Why?
What happened? Crazy? They're all the way down. They're in Class B. Now, when I was there in the 90s, we were in Class A. They're all the way down in Class B. I just saw the preseason poll. They're not even ranked. So there's like 16 teams in Class B. There's 12 teams ranked. They're not even ranked, right? So me being a good steward of the town, I apply for the job, right? I'm in 2 Hall of Fames, right? I got multiple coaches of the year. I can turn my screen around. This wall over here looks like it's fucking Springfield, right? They give it to a gym teacher because he's a gym teacher in like 2nd grade. And it's like, if that's where your priorities are, then when you're in Class F, like the football team's in like Class F. Like if you guys want your basketball team to be in Class F at North Providence, it's ridiculous. And the youth league is the same thing. They just threw their hands up in the air and they don't give a shit.
So I'm gonna add on to that. So Junior is senior. Came in. He had COVID 2 weeks ago. I never seen my kids so sick. Right? They were just sick. I wasn't sick like they were. They were sick. So he got over it 2 weeks ago. He's still like, you can hear it, but he's still getting back there. So he's been like not first in the sprints, or he's been not full speed in tryouts, and he's getting like chastised in front of other players. Like, come on, you're supposed to be faster. You're supposed to be this. And it's like, does he not know, like, you just came off COVID and that you're by far the best option he has at point guard? So why would he keep putting pressure on you like that? Does he not know your character, who you are as a person? Like, doing that to him is like calling him out in front of everybody else because he's having trouble breathing, trying to get back into it. Like, do you not know basketball, dude? Do you not, like, coach a team? Do you not know how to massage a team? I get a team to play together. Like, I don't know. I'm like, Mike, you just got to suck it up. You're going to be coughing and choking like the next couple of games. Practices. That's how it is. I mean, it is what it is. And if he says something, just be like, I just keep saying I'm doing my best, and just do your best. But it's like to call them out in front of the younger kids, like as if that's going to motivate them. I'm already like, what is going on there? Like, what are you doing? Who are you coaching? These high school kids. Well, why are you doing this? Like, what are you coaching? The NBA? You're getting so into their heads. Like, the kid's having trouble breathing. I think he'll get in better shape as he plays, coach. Whether he's out of shape, sick, coming off sickness, whatever it is, if he keeps running, coach, he's going to naturally get in better shape. He's a kid. So no matter what he's doing on day 2, by the time you run him day 10, he'll be where you want him to be day 10. It's like, just, can you tell him that? But he does not talk, this kid. He does not. He's so not me, man. He's like the Shirley to my Laverne. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Conlon. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because you've seen pro athletes like what did Jaylen Brown had it last season, right? It took him multiple games to get back to any kind of form. He like we talked pro football. We talked other players like the NFL takes them several games, if like months, to come back from all that. For some coach to be rubbing his, like, to use that as some kind of stupid motivation that quickly doesn't make any sense.
And you know the coach,
like, Embiid's a mess right now. You can tell he's not.
Yeah.
It's gonna take time. That's it's gonna take time. But
you know the coach. You know the coach I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. That's what bothers me.
When you got an inexperienced coach, and this goes to any level, they're trying to feel that they're trying to put their personality out there. Like it's like they lack confidence. So the way that when I was a young coach, at least, the way I showed for my lack of confidence and my inexperience is I bullied people who I had authority over, which was the players. So I was hell. You could bring any of the girls on here from Johnson & Wales that I coached, and they'll be like, TJ was a fucking psycho. But it was because I was so insecure in my own skin that the best way for me to remind myself I was a head coach was to make some poor girl run, for not making eye contact during a timeout, Whereas when you become an older, and that's real. And then when you become an older coach and you have a little bit of a resume, then the sick kid who's taking a practice at half speed because he looks like hell, it doesn't even bother you anymore. You don't even notice it. You don't even care because there's in the big picture, it's irrelevant, right? But that's the difference between an experienced coach and a young coach. And you'll see that in the NBA too. You'll see young coaches ride guys, and you'll see young coaches have these bodacious press conferences. And then you'll see like Phil Jackson being like, yeah, man, it doesn't really matter. Like, it just doesn't matter, so it's interesting.
It's what I'm dealing with, but it's crazy. I'm like,
but thank God they hired him because, that union guy, I would have donated my salary. I would have lit the salary on fire for the $3,500. But the reason it's in the contract is to make sure a teacher can get some Christmas money.
Kev, by the way, they have to hire a teacher if he applies.
Yes.
Seriously, really?
He could have no knowledge at all. Like, there's coaches there
that coach multiple sports. In the contract, the wording is if there's a qualified teacher that applies, but qualified could just mean you watched Nesson. Like you played JV. Anything is qualified in that language.
Maybe.
When I was at Woonsocket, that wasn't in the contract. And I asked the principal, they were talking about putting it in there. And he was a football guy. And he says on the bus to me, he says, so you mean to tell me these people, if Bill Belichick wants to coach my high school team next year, I'm not going to hire Bill fucking Belichick. And when you bring that out and you say, okay, if this gym teacher wants the job and Coach K decides he wants to go do some high school ball, you don't give it to Coach K. And that's the contract. It's crazy.
That's absolutely nuts. It doesn't surprise me, but it's nuts. Yeah. And I didn't realize, Coach, what you said, that they have fallen so far down. They're not even ranked in, would you say, the B2?
Yeah, so the D1, D2, and D3, and I still follow because I'm going to get back into it at some point. And the D2 preseason poll comes out, and they're not even in. There's like 16. D2 is kind of big. It's kind of all encompassing, right? So you got some suburban schools, you got a couple of shitty city schools that don't belong there, and they rank the top 12. And North Providence didn't even make the top 12.
Wow.
Out of like a 16-team league. So they're down there with like Prout, like the School of the Deaf, like the fucking boys club, it's bad. It's sad because we were in Class A. We beat my senior year. We beat LaSalle. Like we were like good, and it's not that far. I know it's 20 years, but it really shouldn't have dropped that far. A couple of years ago when Riz was there, they were in the damn Final Four. Like they made the state tournament. Like they made the playoffs like 18 years in a row, and then Riz left. And then they just started passing it out to teachers. And, the other kid was a nice kid, but you could tell when Riz left, the whole program fell off a cliff. It's sad.
Yeah, that's awful. It doesn't surprise me though with the like passing around to teachers, which doesn't even make sense. Like I don't know how I would have like what kind of person I'd have to be. Like if I know you're applying and I know I'm a second grade gym teacher and I'm like, hey, I'll do it if nobody applies, and then you apply and I take it anyway.
Well, you know what happens? You don't even know because they post it to the teachers first, and they don't open it up to the public. So the only reason I applied is because I didn't wait for them to post it. I just sent my resume to the principal, the athletic director, whatever. But this kid, he's been a JV coach for a couple of years, but his credentials overall, like he's got no college experience. He was a walk-on at Rick for like half a season, right? He's got no head coaching experience. He's got no camp experience. He's got no travel experience. Really, and he's a kid. He has no life experience on top of the whole fucking thing. So when you put that,
I don't know his age, but he's young. He's young.
And when you put him, you're talking about high school's a tough age, man. Boys are becoming men in high school, and when you put a guy with that kind of inexperience, and this again carries across all levels, the only way he's going to be able to overcompensate for that is to find some targets. And he's going to pick on him. And you know what else he's going to do? He's going to find his favorites, and he's going to kiss their ass for 3 months. Because that's the other thing you do when you're a young coach, because you don't have a leg to stand on. So you want your best players to be your best friends.
That's just absolutely awful. That's terrible. All right, gentlemen. So that's the state of basketball in North Providence. I can't make a twig. Evans Field needs insurance and rims. KC Field is still running on double rims. We got a bad coach at the high school. I guess we'll have to just move on to hopefully better topics here. So
many problems.
Yeah, exactly. So last on Monday we picked 4 games. We got 3 of the 4 right. TJ and I got 3 of the 4 right, King. I think we disagreed on San Antonio. You stuck to your guns, and you went with whoever was going to San Antonio. So 3 out of 4 was a very nice night. Let's hope we can nail both games tonight that haven't tipped off. So first one you got is Detroit. I believe they're getting 12. Let me check the line again, but they were getting 12 the last time I looked. Going into Phoenix with the over/under at 207.5. King, you want any thoughts on that one? You want to go first?
Give it to me again. How much is the Detroit line?
I believe they're getting 12. I'm gonna confirm it right now, but it couldn't have moved much.
And where is it?
Plus 12 at Phoenix.
They're getting 12 at Phoenix. Wow. You know what? You go with Phoenix because they want us to think that that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
I'm not going to argue that. Coach, what do you think of that one?
I agree with you. Go with Phoenix, but here's the thing: Detroit is only 10-11 against the spread, despite their regular overall record, and Phoenix, despite being 18-3, is only 12-9 against the spread. Right? So when you look at if you look at the two teams just against the spread, it's a lot more evenly matched, right? When you picture in the number, but still, I mean, Phoenix is not going to let off the gas one bit. I mean, they're 18-3. That's unfreaking believable. Like I don't know. You ride your hot hand. I'd take Phoenix. Give the 12.
Yeah, all right.
Down would be nice.
Yeah, I can't. The only thing that would sway me is if Detroit somehow didn't get blown out a lot. I don't think that's the case. They definitely have taken on the chin several times this season. So that would be the only thing that would really kind of sway me. All right, so I think we're going to go Detroit there. Then the second game is the Spurs going into Portland. And San Antonio is, I think they were getting 5 when I looked before the show. Let me confirm that. But let's say for now, San Antonio plus 5 at Portland, over under 216. I believe Dame is out. I know Powell is also questionable, so I'm not sure if they ruled finally on whether he's in or out. But Coach, your thoughts on that one? Spurs getting actually 4.5 at Portland.
I don't like Portland. I think Portland, especially without Dame, it's just a confusing looking mess over there. I don't like the Spurs either. I don't like either one of these teams. But I'll take the points. I'll go with the Spurs and take the points.
Yeah, I have the same exact opinion on that one. I think if you take Dame out of the game and strip this down, I hate to say it, I'd go with the coaching in the system, and I would like to take the Spurs to win.
All right. So, any thoughts on the over/under 2? What is it? It dropped to 215. That seems a little high without Dame, and possibly without Powell. Would you guys lay anything on that, or just leave it alone?
Can I be honest? I cannot do over/unders for basketball for beans. I can't figure it out at all. Like some games, I guess it's easy to do because you know the two teams are going to be slow. But now with the way teams score and the way teams are streaky, like I don't know what they're going to do some nights. So I find it so hard to pick the over/unders. You guys can you go ahead, but I really can't do it. So personally, I would say don't pick it. But if I had to, I always go over.
All right, Coach,
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the over/under in basketball is just flipping a bleeping coin. I really do. Well, although Philly and Boston the other night, the over/under was like 201 or 199 or something like that. And someone texted me, asked me if Embiid was playing. But I have such a hard time with it. Also, it's just easier if you're going to bet the over/under to bet the over, so you can like root for a game that's worth watching. Yeah. It's so hard to sit there and root for like misses. Like I really hope this guy misses. Who the hell wants to watch a game like that? Without Dame, 215 does seem high to me too. So if you put a gun in my head, I'd say go under. But again, it's such a coin flip.
Plus, to be honest, right? If you take the under, you literally might be watching a game going, don't hit a free throw. Don't hit a free throw.
Oh,
for like a good minute of NBA time, not real time.
Yeah.
You know, that is the greatest trick we've ever played on our wives is this. Can you come help me? And I'll be like, yeah, there's only 5 minutes left in the game. I'll be back. Look, see, I'll be there in a little bit. And she didn't realize that 5 minutes of real time does not equate to 5 minutes of football time, Kev. Half hour later, I come in and she's like, where were you? I said, the game just ended. So there was 5 minutes left. I said, there was.
Yeah, I think they're starting to figure it out though. That doesn't work as well for me anymore, especially with football. I'm like, oh, there's only 2:13 left. So like, well, there's a 2-minute warning. How many timeouts does each team have? And I'm like, sit down, Belichick. There's only 2:13 left. Don't worry about it. All right, so we got our two bets in here. We're going Phoenix laying 12, and we're going the Spurs catching 4.5 at Portland, and hopefully Paolo's out. That would help a lot. All right, gents. So this week we had a bunch of decent games, but I watched two of them kind of end to end, and the first one that we talked about on Monday night was Golden State at Phoenix, which was probably game of the season so far. I hate hyperbole, but you got to do it. Phoenix won 104-96. I think Golden State was getting either 2.5 or 3.5. I bet Golden State, so I took the L on that one. But that was a phenomenal game to watch. And the thing that got me with that was just how tight. Like we always talk about Golden State and beautiful basketball and how much fun they are to watch. But Phoenix, there's nothing to take away from the way they play either. And to me, it almost looks like they're playing better than they were at the end of last season. It looks like DeAndre Ayton might be a little upset that he didn't get that extension, and he's playing a little more aggression. And he really kind of owned the Warriors, especially inside. I like Chris Paul, and Golden State didn't just mail it in either. They came to win. So I thought it was a great game. I love watching it. I love the speed up and down. A lot of passing, a lot of cutting, kind of basketball the way I like it, except there still wasn't enough presence in the lane, but I've kind of given that up. But, Coach, did you watch that game, and what did you think of it?
I did. I'm surprised Steph didn't show out. Like I thought Steph would be better, and he wasn't the best version of him, which is a little disappointing. Here's the thing about Phoenix. They're like a basketball team if you drew up a basketball team, what each position would bring to the table. And it starts with Chris Paul, but Ayton is very traditional. Jay Crowder, as slow and he's like the slow guy that's not going to miss open shots, though. And Bridges has his job. I mean, there's just a lot to like. The ball moves, the extra pass gets made by both of these teams. Like the ball flies around in the half court. These are two teams that can run two sets in a half court in a 24-second shot clock. They can run two full sets. Like we got nothing. We'll get the point guard back. We'll run something else. It's really a good brand of basketball, and they're playing again tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, they are tomorrow night.
Give me more. Let's go.
Yeah, King, did you watch the game?
I had a problem with Steph. Was he getting bumped? Like I was trying, I guess I was trying to figure out the whole game instead of watching the game, Kev. I was actually trying to watch him play. Just because I wanted to. And then I was trying to figure out why he wasn't doing as good as he was. So when it would cut the commercial, I'm literally sitting there, and you guys think I'm crazy. I was actually taking notes, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. What I can make of it was, if he doesn't get going early and you keep on him, bumping him, is that your best bet with him? And I'm being serious. I can't, because they did something to kind of knock him off. I mean, you could call it an off night. I don't. I think he's like a robot. So I think they had to do something to knock him off his kilter, so to speak.
I don't know, Mike. Here's the thing. Everybody in the NBA has tried every possible thing there is on him, right? Like this isn't a new idea to try and push him. They put bigs on him. They put quick guys on him. They double team him. They go above the screen. They trail off the screen. He just missed. He just missed a lot of shots that he always makes. So was there some of the physicality? Maybe.
But you put in more work, right?
Yeah.
So you're tired more. You don't have the oomph, that whole spark, because someone's on you the whole time. You can grind somebody down like that. You could tire him out a little bit. So maybe he just was on a night where he got, maybe the wind.
But I would, if I'm Phoenix, there's no way I'm going into tomorrow night's game thinking Steph's going 4 for 21 again.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing. Like Steph go 4 for 21 from the hash mark tomorrow night if he feels like it. The key is Phoenix has a lot of balance. Like you take something away, they got something else. You take this away, Ayton gets a dunk, and it's like, oh shit, I forgot they have Ayton down there. And then it's like, okay, we can't allow Ayton to get a dunk, and then Chris Paul just hits a 14-footer off his back foot, and he's like 5'8". And it's like, okay, I forgot about that. So now we bring help to him, and then Jay Crowder stands there and hits an old man three. Like there's a lot of weapons on Phoenix, and I thought they were going to come back to the pack. Now I'm starting to think they're going to go ahead and be the 1 seed. Like that's how impressed I was the other night.
Yeah, Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, though. The 4 for 21 for Steph is obviously massive, massive outlier. If he hits three more, obviously the game changes, but if he hits three more, that's 9 points. They lost by 8. If he hits two more, that's 6 points. They lost by 8. So I know the math's not that simple. I get it, but my point is he's probably not going to be that far off again. So if you're Phoenix, I don't think you can relax at all. They're not dumb enough to relax, but it just goes to show you that the other side of the coin is how strong Golden State is even on an off night. Phoenix is the number 2 team in the NBA, and they had a 4 for 21 night from Steph, a 3 for 14 from 3, and they were still in it right until probably 6 minutes left, 4 minutes left, something like that, and it was a great game to watch because it almost looked like playoff basketball, to me anyway.
It did, and don't forget, it lost by 8, but it was a 2-point game, 1-point game with 3 minutes left, right? So it's not like they were down by double digits the whole game and they cut it to 8.
Yeah.
No, the last couple of minutes got away from him a little bit. Otto Porter Jr. is critical though for Golden State. He's just critical, and because Looney's wasn't up to par in this one. Like he looked like a fish out of water, even though he got some minutes. I think Clay is key. I think they need one more body. Like to beat a team like this, to match their depth, you almost need another body, and that body's going to be Clay. But Poole was terrific. I think Wiggins can get more out of, and Draymond's Draymond. As much as I hate him and his game, I think he's overrated. But he's a player. Like you got to, he does his job. So 2 great teams. They're the best teams in the league, though.
Yeah. I heard like Jordan Poole's been great like this whole season. He's been hot. I heard that he trained with Steph during the off season, like same routine, same hours, like all that stuff. And apparently that had, they're saying that has a lot to do with kind of his development this season. But it's good to see him. It's going to be fun for them to figure out the rotation when Clay is back, because they don't have to rush him back in because they have Poole. And last thing I want to say is I love Gary Payton II or Gary Payton Jr., whatever you want to call him. All got to watch. A lot of energy. He dunks hard. He does what he's supposed to do.
Left-handed. He dunked left-handed. It's so beautiful. Whenever anybody does anything in sports left-handed, I just think it's gorgeous. That goes for quarterbacks and every position. He dunked left-handed, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, it wasn't like he just dropped the ball into the basket. It was like crunch. Yeah. But
see, when I think of going left-handed, right, my life is forever ruined by Eli Manning. Because watching Eli Manning try to throw 2 touchdowns on 2 separate occasions with his left hand into the end zone, both for interceptions, made me want to just puke. Like the second time he did it, I swear to you, I would have punched him if I could have. Like, it's a good thing we can't get close to these athletes sometimes because the frustration would pour over. I love Eli Manning.
All right, King. So, Coach and I were kind of talking, monopolize that conversation a little bit. Any final thoughts you have on Phoenix Golden State?
Nope. No, I do not.
All right, cool. All right, so the second game I watched was last night, and I watched Philly come into Boston. And I'm like, wow, I should watch this game. I'm a Celtics fan. Philly's a solid team, all that. And final score was Boston 88, Philly 87. It was close the whole game. It was kind of an ugly game to watch, in my opinion. The styles of those 2 teams, neither one of them looked like they were playing the same game that Phoenix or Golden State was playing. It was a lot of just isolation. Jaylen Brown and what's his name, Tatum, kind of alternating shots. Those 2 guys don't even look like they like each other. Al Horford had a good game, I would say. I love Robert Williams. I hope he just keeps his mouth shut and keeps, doing what he's doing and developing and rebounding hard and all that. But, Schroeder and what's his name, Marcus Smart, neither one of them had phenomenal games. It doesn't look like they're running any kind of offense. And on the Philly side, I don't fully understand Embiid. I guess he's still sick. He's coming off that, but I think he takes too many jump shots. And I think Philly's kind of a weird, streaky team, and I don't really love their offense either. Like they weren't. It was like a half court game, which I don't even mind. I like half court games when you can execute a half court offense, but it didn't seem like either one of them really could. So that's my monologue on that one. Which one do you guys want to go first? If you watch the game,
I'll go ahead.
Kev, Cheech and Chong, right? Buzz and Woody. Let me think. Riggs and what was the guy's name from Lethal Weapon? Murtaugh.
Murtaugh and Riggs.
Yep. Jay and Silent Bob. Thelma Louise, Jake and Elwood Blues, Batman and Robin, Doc and Marty, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, Kev, Harry and Lloyd, Kev, Kirk and Spock, and Tolo and Chewbacca. Nowhere on that list would be Jaylen Brown. And the other kid. You know why, Kev? They're not a duo. They don't play together. They're trying to outdo each other. It's like they're trying to get a better sneaker contract than the next guy. They don't care about the Celtics. If you are a Celtics fan, how are you not talking about this nonstop? You got two guys on your team that are your stars. They don't give a about the team. They're both trying to get into commercials and be the number one guy in the roster. Like, you do this all the time. I remember a time when you had what's his name? Pierce and Walker. Like, come on. What are we doing here? Well, it's like a bad movie I keep seeing on like Cinemax. Change it. They're not going nowhere, this team, and it's awful to see two guys play every night that don't want to play with each other.
It's especially because they're talented. It's an ugly brand of basketball. It's so like I don't even know. I'm not sure where I'm even supposed to be looking because there's not a lot of movement. They're not passing the ball around. It's like, okay, which one has it? That's what's going to shoot it. But sorry, Coach, talk to me about this. Talk to me about this game.
So there's a couple things. Right? First of all, I think Jaylen Brown's hurt. Right, Jaylen Brown is not the same Jaylen Brown as he was 3 weeks ago. Those two guys definitely don't like each other. Then you got Schroeder, who probably should have not only fired his agent should have been disbarred because that guy walked away from $1 gajillion for Schroeder to now be like hunting for a contract. So he's like in I got to get mine mode. Marcus Smart is like thinks he was the number 6 pick. So Marcus Smart thinks he's an all-star. There's like a lot. The only guy in that team I love what Robert Williams does because he's like, I'm just going to run, and if I can dunk, throw it to me and I'll dunk. Until then, I'm just going to be high and I'll block some shots.
By the way, the best thing you've said, I think, all season is that Marcus Smart thinks he's an all-star. That is so dead on because you know what? He really does. And no one's told Marcus Smart that he's not. No one. It seems like no one's gone up and been, hey, Marcus. No. Not just once.
No, you're not.
No.
And, you know, this wasn't an example last night, but how many games has there been a big Celtics possession and Marcus Smart thinks he's the guy that should be taking the pull-up three? Like, that's just, in Phoenix, that
no
shit
leadership. There's like, no leadership on that court with the Celtics.
That is not happening. And in Golden State, that shit is like Wiggins is cool. He knows in crunch time, like I'm only taking this shot if I'm supposed to take this shot. Like Boston it's like a free-for-all. It's like a pickup game. And it's like their offense is basically if Tatum or Brown gets it, the possession's over. It's a pick and roll where if we get to the paint, we're going to throw it to Williams. That's their entire offense.
It
was good enough to win, but it's bad.
Kev, full court hustle. When we play hustle, whoever gets a rebound just shoots it.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's full court. It's full court hustle.
Like, now Tatum had 16 rebounds. You kind of look like an ass if you get the rebound and then you dribble up the floor and shoot it, right? But when Tatum like has to pass off like initially, you can almost feel his anger and like he's like passing off and then calling his own play as he crosses half court.
He's like running by.
Like, yo, I'm open. Like I'm definitely open. Oh, it's crazy. And I'll tell you, Philly's no walk in the park either. Whatever Doc is doing is not the answer. First of all, Embiid, it looks lazy and tired. I'm sure it's the COVID. The headline on Philly today is Embiid still recovering from COVID. Then stop taking fucking jump shots. Like, if you're sick and tired and you can't reach from the foul line, then don't do it anymore. You're 3 for 50. So you got Embiid trying to do whatever he wants. Tobias Harris can score 25 points a game, but you have to give him the ball. Like, between these two teams, that might have broke the NBA record for least passes in a game. Like, just no passing. Embiid gets it, black hole. Curry gets it, he's shooting. Milton gets it, he's shooting. And the whole Celtics team hates each other. So that was shit, man. That was bad ball.
It's still Embiid's father. Fire. Is still Embiid's father fire? Is that a question or a statement?
That might be
whatever.
That might be an Al Horford freaking supporter right there. Because
I'll tell you what, though,
tonight.
They really do not like each other, and the thing is this: so they can read, like, every now and then you get to hear like a coach talk to the team, because it's not like they're going to say anything that you're stealing plays from them, right? They just say basic things like "get on him" or "Jesus Christ," or, that's what we used to hear. I would love if they could mic up the huddles just a couple times, because the Celtic one, I wonder if there's anybody talking to each other. Are they just standing there as if they're singular? Every guy just not even like acknowledging the other guy, like not even looking at him.
Can't you see Tatum going to sit down and like looking at one of the bench buys and being like, "Yo, how many I got?"
Yeah, at most. And he doesn't even know their name. He wouldn't even know their name.
I used to do that stuff when I was little. Like, hey, Mike, how many do I got?
Number five. But he wouldn't know their name.
Doing that, and then Brown's got his boys. He's doing the same shit.
You know that, right? Though? They don't know each other's names. Like, they probably don't know like the bench's name. So they're like, "Hey, number 5, 6. How many I got?"
But I'll tell you, maybe it's because I watched Phoenix and Golden State the night before, and then you watch this the next day. Like, it just seems like two teams, like those West Coast teams are playing together. They look like they like each other. But the Philly-Boston game looked like a bunch of guys that were thrown out there, and it's like, yeah, you got to play this game, so might as well get mine.
Yeah, and the strange thing is, like, at least with like Boston, like, it's not like they have a low salary cap and they're trying to rebuild. Like, this is the team that they chose to put out there. And like, you had like Danny Ainge, who I don't know if it was you or somebody else, who like held on to those assets, those picks, like they were they were gold. And now you have this, and there's no easy. We talk about it all the time. There's no easy way out. Like, until in what's his name, the coach that became the GM now. I wonder if he's yelling at the current coach, being like, "You have to make this work." And if I were the current coach, I'd be like, "But last season you couldn't make it work. It drove you nuts, which is why you went upstairs to become the GM. Like, when are you going to solve this problem? Because it's never going to work."
It's not. You know, it's a telling stat, and people don't think of this stat. The Celtics got almost no offensive rebounds in the game against Philly. And the reason why you don't go get offensive rebounds is because when you're doing that my turn, your turn, if it's not your turn, you're like, I don't give a fuck.
No, I got to go spot up guy. What do you mean go for
you know? So when you watch the Golden State game, I bet you Golden State had 10. I bet you Golden State had 10 offensive rebounds. I bet you Phoenix had 10 offensive rebounds. And I know Boston had 4 because I have the box score up here. So that's saying that means when Steph misses, everybody is so gung-ho team that they're like, we're going to go get the ball. When Boston misses, everyone's like, fuck, it wasn't my turn. I'm going to get back on defense. And that's a really, really telling stat, a hustle stat that you're not getting with Boston.
But all right, can I explain that's on a young level. That's like younger, like people that were inspired by Steph and the Warriors and that whole generation that's coming up now. They all shoot and then just start to walk away as if like, done deal. And everybody else is just spotting up, get ready to get in their spots. Like, people are 3-point shooters. Like, I can't believe they even say that. Like, they just go get set up. And if there's a miss, no one is truly crashing the boards. You get maybe like 2 kids from each team at tops crashing the boards. When back in the day, it was like almost all 5 if you could get them hitting the boards all at once to grab the rebound.
That's where the points are. And
just to back up what your theory was. Golden State had 15 offensive rebounds, and Phoenix had 8, 6 by DeAndre Ayton. So, yeah, but I mean, how does all this focus on floor spacing? And I think some teams, I'm starting to come around to a little more, but I think some teams do it so poorly. Like, does it count with your floor spacing if there's 4 or 5 you are on the 3-point line and none of you move? Does that count as floor spacing?
All right.
I guess it does technically because there's a lot of space on the floor, but it doesn't seem like your offense is going to work if you're all just standing around there.
TJ, you'll know this because it drives me nuts. The guy at the top of the key swings it to the guy on the right? When it comes back to the guy at the top of the key, the guy at the left is never out far enough. He's always too far in, cutting off the pass lane. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they drift in, those kids. The minute it goes to the other side, you're right. They kind of get, and they just kind of like walk a little bit in. They come too far in. So it's like, I've always noticed that you can't, they're so lazy. You know what? I've given up on this generation, Kev.
So
I really have. They're lazy to get out. They won't come out. If you don't know how to floor space, you don't know when you're supposed to pop out, be available. You everybody else up.
Here's how I used to teach it, and here's why Golden State can play 5 out. So I was short, right? So I was a 5'10".
You're not short anymore?
Well, now I'm just a regular size human, but in a college basketball game, I'm really short, and it stands out. I would put my back heels on the sideline. Like, that's how much space. I'm going to run as far away from my defender as I can. The best thing for me would be the ball going to the other side of the court, so my man would go fucking help, and I can go run and hide somewhere where I can shoot from and he can't get me. And when Golden State plays, they'll do that. They'll be so wide. It's when you watch shitty teams that everybody wants to get near the ball goes to the right, and then everybody fucking shuffles over to it and defeats the entire purpose. And I think NBA teams are a little bit better, but when NBA teams go 5 out and no one's moving, then what's the point of being out there?
It's space.
There's only a couple things that can happen when you're all standing out there. There really is.
None of them are good.
One's going to a guy's going to either ISO somebody or someone's going to shoot a 3.
You know, say, like, all one of you bozos has to do is cut to the basket. You'll end up on SportsCenter because you'll cut to the basket and get a layup, and the friggin' internet will explode and be like, "What is this thing this guy did?"
They'll call you a genius. They'll call you a genius on the court.
It's a smart player. He cut to the basket.
Yeah, see, that's the thing when they're like 5 out like that, and there's no moving without the ball, and then they, like you said, it gets compressed a little bit. It's so hard to watch pro basketball like that, and it's terrible. And then the good teams do it.
You have to want to move that night. Like you have to want to run and cut and rotate. Because when they don't want to, and you can see it sometimes if they're tired, they don't want to rotate. Maybe that guy just ends up standing there, and the play goes around him. You know what I mean?
Guys like Jay Crowder, PJ Tucker comes to mind. That they're not even physically capable of running around. Their job is literally to stand in the corner, and whatever happens, if you're open, shoot it. Like, that is their entire job, and they're paid handsomely to do this job. But this guy, the stand in the corner position, like, that's a new position. We didn't have that.
It's a new position.
Here's what I've been waiting for, and like, this is me seeing into the future now, Kev, for the second show. On football, I said that the starting quarterback next year for the New York Giants will be Russell Wilson. I'm going to tell you the next thing in basketball. The next star is going to be a 20 rebounder a game freak. That's what they need right now. That's what they need to become popular. Like this guy who just comes in and he's like a Rodman 2.0, but he's like he gets 15 to 20 rebounds. Like, Rodman at one point was getting so many rebounds that I remember even as a Laker fan, I'd have to watch him with the Bulls or whoever, because it's like he got well, how many last night? 20 what? It's like love. And I think the next player up, because again, every team's got their shooters and these guys, the cute guys. When that next super monster rebounder comes, man, he's gonna have such like a big market. You know what I mean? A lot of people will get behind him if that's like his deal.
But is middle school coach going to take that guy? Is the middle school coach going to take the Dennis Rodman guy and tell him he has to be a point forward and make 4 threes a half? That's what I worry about. Like, where's this maniac coming from?
So we're hoping for college kids.
A football team and be like, listen, go beast these guys.
That's what I'm trying to say. We're looking for a college kid that, like, maybe sophomore year is like, oh, I can do this, so what, I'm fit for this, and he just comes because Robin sort of did that, like late, but like someone who just came in from college would be awesome. He'd be brutal.
I would love
somebody who just wears a shirt that says rebounds. You know what I mean? Like I mean, being serious, there's such a market behind that. Everybody wants to see a guy who's unselfish in the point where he's just trying to get the boards constantly, and he'd have a ton of assists, which would be awesome. I think, right? Big rebound, he'd kick it back out, right? You'd want him to do that, right? I think it would.
Yeah, I definitely hope you're right. All right, gents, very good conversation on styles and different teams. But I would love to, like, I can't even imagine a finals again with like Golden State or Phoenix versus a team that plays like Philly or Boston. I don't even want to imagine that. But anyway, so 2 other things I wanted to hit with you guys quick. Indiana, we don't talk a lot about the Pacers. They're a boring team. King said it a lot, but I heard something today. I had to check it because it didn't seem like it could be true. And basically, Indiana right now, let me just look at their record quick. They are 9-15, they're 13th spot in the East. Not a great position, not a great record. they've lost 9 games by 4 points or less. So of their 15 losses, 9 have come by 4 points or less. To me, that's astounding. Like, just your luck, that's terrible luck. If they won half of those, they'd probably be in 6th or 7th in the East. So the thing I wanted to ask, and I'm gonna make a football parallel here. Like Rick Carlisle, is how much of this is on him, how much of it is on the players, and then the other thing I always think about when a coach gets fired and doesn't have any time off, I don't think you do them any favors. I don't think the second organization is getting as much as they should. Like, and I'll use Adam Gase in Miami with Adam Gase to the Jets. Adam Gase did all this terrible stuff in Miami, horrible program. Jets immediately hire him. He thinks, well, I don't have to change anything. I just got another job. I got another job as a head coach, so obviously I was doing the right things. Rick Carlisle, obviously a longer career, much more success. He won a championship. But the fact that Indiana's lost those 9 games by 4, how much of that is on Carlisle? And I guess, Coach, I'll ask you since you're a coach. Maybe none of it is, but it's just something I noticed and I wanted to ask about.
I don't think much of it is when you have that roster. Like, Malcolm Brogdon's not the best at creating his own. A lot of NBA crunch time is creating your own shot. That when the game gets down to it, Sabonis, you can't really go to him. Here's the thing. These guys are hyper focused in their organizations. So I don't think you can be hyper focused on one team to the point of like insanity. Like, these guys are on their team's roster, working with their team, and then you just switch and you go to another team and have time. Like, you don't have time to get to know the next organization. Like in the Gase situation, all you can do is run your shit with the different guys. Like, you don't have time to read. You can't start from the ground up. And Carlisle is in a little bit of that, but I wish that Brogdon could give him more off the bounce. They need a creative player. I don't give him too much of the blame, and I don't watch a ton of their games. So for all I know, he's botching every play call in the last 3 minutes. But overall, my initial reaction is Carlisle knows how to call a game, and he just doesn't really have a ton of weapons. And that's also like a mathematical anomaly that will balance itself out over time, I think.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, King.
May I add, certain guys should be allowed to shave their heads completely. Certain guys should have to stick with the stubble. He is he's offensive with his head. He's got a weird head, Carlisle. I don't like it. I don't like Carlisle. I don't like the way he coaches. I didn't like when he played. Like, I'm trying to figure out what is good about Rick Carlisle, but nothing comes to mind. So I'm like stuck. That's what I got on that.
He's a lifer though, Mike. He's a basketball.
He is a lifer. All right, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but
I remember when he played for the Celtics, but I don't remember how he became
great off the bench.
Successful like head coach. Like, I don't remember. Like, I've always heard good things about him, but I don't know why or how or anything like that. So I can't comment on that.
When was he a successful coach? Run this back to me, because
they won Dirk's championship. When Dirk won his championship, Carlisle was coaching.
So they give Carlisle credit for Dirk putting on one of the greatest all-time one-person performances in a final series. Right? Is that what we're saying?
That's where he got his ring. Coach, I don't think he won another one, right?
No, that's his only ring. It's funny though, like how reputations. So a lot of what we know about NBA coaches are basically what players say, right? That's kind of how we know who's good and who's bad. Unless, like, I'm not studying Rick Carlisle for a living, but we always knew he was a good coach, like right when he got in the league, right? What didn't he always? There was never a time where he developed into a good coach. It's like he became a coach and then he was a good coach. But like, that's just how it was. Where Popovich was like, who is this guy? Oh, wow, he's got Tim Duncan. Oh, now he's a great coach. But Carlisle, it's almost like from the first day he got the job, it was just understood that he was a great coach.
Yeah.
And then for better or worse.
Who gave him like the who was he assistant with first?
Who what?
Who was he an assistant with?
I think he was with Larry Brown, I think. Well, everybody was with Larry Brown.
He was never with Pop though, right? I'm wrong with that, right? He was never.
No, he was never with Pop.
I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Still don't like him.
Yeah, do a little homework.
Still don't like him.
I feel like he came from the Larry Brown tree, and I feel like Carlisle was around when the Nets were going to finals too. Hey. Remember when the Nets went to a couple finals?
Oh yeah.
Big kid Nets. Yeah. I think Carlisle was in that organization then.
How about the fact we don't talk about Larry Bird was MVP, Finals MVP, and then he was what, Coach of the Year, and then he was like GM of the Year or whatever they call that.
Executive of the Year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how great is Larry Bird in general? Like, you know what I mean? When it comes to basketball, like his name is basketball to me. It's weird, but like he is, and I will fight to the finish when it comes to him. As far as like yeah, maybe there's other people that are technically better in what way they move, what they do. Again, though, if there's like 2 on the clock, I still can't think of somebody to this day I'd give the ball to other than Bird. Can you guys?
No, well, I'm a Celtics fan, so of course not.
All the way to today, Robert Horry, Steph Curry.
Horry.
No.
Right, so we should
what about Jason Tatum on an ISO from the left wing?
Why would you even?
With Jaylen Brown standing in the corner, like being
with Jaylen Brown already walking the other way.
Jaylen Brown, as the ball goes up, Jaylen Brown's walking to the bench.
Dude, by the time the ball's in the air and he's already trying to start to talk to Nesson.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
That's all right. We should do a whole thing on Larry Bird on a Thursday. But all right, Jess.
Kev, wait, I'm sorry. I always wanted to do a fake Nesson because you know how bad Nesson can be at times. Like, I just want to always do like a fake Nesson interview. Like, it always seems like Nesson catches people when they're pissed. They don't want to be interviewed, right? They turn this Nesson. They're like, ugh.
While we're doing broadcasting, I had to watch the Sixers game on the Celtics network.
Yeah.
Scalabrine used to be good. He's not good anymore. I didn't enjoy that call of the game, not even a little bit. And I'm not just saying that because I don't like the Celtics, but I used to actually like Scalabrine. And now he's kind of like, I don't know, he lost it.
I just watch him on YouTube. Like when he has people come down to play him and he beats the snot out of them because he's an NBA player.
You know, he's had one of the best lines I ever heard, though. He said to some regular player, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. And I feel like people understand that. So I always try and qualify when I say an NBA player sucks relative to the other NBA players. But if you ever caught an NBA player in person, and I've had a chance to play a couple, it's like playing against a space alien.
So here's the thing, though. I actually got to play in a pickup game with an NBA player who is a space alien and was high as a kite, and Lamar Odom. I just remember playing, and he was like, he wouldn't go down low. He didn't want to bump anybody. He really didn't. He wasn't there for that. But he just would get the ball, and it would be like wherever he was. If there wasn't somebody super tall in his face, he made everything. Especially way back then, if you guys remember when he was going to college and he was going to URI, he was so good because he played so loose. Like he just thought he was the man. He would hit. When I say he used to hit every, and again, I had a practice with Ernie D, so I've seen an old guy in his 40s hit every shot he took. Like Ernie D hit every shot he took. Kev, remember?
Oh yeah.
9 out of 10 free throws with his eyes closed. Like that's literally how good he was. But then I played with Lamar, and seeing Lamar shoot was like brilliant too. So these guys, when you see them shoot, they are not like us.
No. And Lamar's 6'10" too.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like going down low. He doesn't have to, and he's just hitting everything from everywhere.
He'll take these fans out and just bust them like 21-0, and I'm glad he does it because I feel like people need to be reminded of how that is. You know how far the gap is. Anyway, go ahead.
I think the biggest problem is it's not the young guys; it's the older guys that forget that they lost a step. They forget that no matter what they think, there's no way they're like, you know what I mean, as athletic and as fast as they were in their 20s. Like, it just doesn't happen anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, well.
They challenge Scalabrine, like, and they're like, "Oh, I played college ball and I did this and I did that," and you look at them, and you're going, "How old are you now? Like, what are you going to do against Scalabrine? He's going to kill you." And then they go out and it's like 20. It's like 21-0.
I've never seen one. I've never seen him play one of these games. Like, I got to find it.
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's great. Because you can see the frustration build in the other guy, and then it turns into respect by like 8-0.
Ever see the big white kid? Ever see the big white kid? He's like 6'10" that goes to neighborhoods and he's like, try to dunk on me.
Yeah.
Puts up a rim and he stands in.
No, I've never seen it. Sorry, no.
Oh, Kev, that's one of my favorite series. He goes to like different areas and then all these guys, they try to dunk on him. and he blocks pretty much everybody, and it gets people.
Was he a college player or a pro? Or
yeah,
what?
he might have been a college player, I think. He's
Yeah.
just like this white kid that makes himself look really geeky, and then he shows up and he's like, "Dunk on me," and then like, "What'd you say?" And he's like, "Dunk on me, go ahead." And they give him the ball, and they all try to dunk on him, and he's just everybody.
That's awesome.
Seriously,
All right, Jets. We're at the 56-minute mark. I want to ask. I had a couple of other things I wanted to cover. We'll save it for next time. But I did want to ask about the tampering penalties. What you guys thought? Miami and Chicago both lose their next second-round pick. I think Miami's is 2024, and I think Chicago is 2026, maybe 2028, something crazy like that. Coach, is that going to deter people from tampering, or is that just slap on the wrist useless?
Yeah, that's useless. It's pointless. It's not going to change anything. If anything, it'll be like, okay, we better not get caught. But first of all, we all know tampering happens. Yeah. The second they open up for free agency, 21 guys sign in the first 14 minutes. Like, okay, it's just massive coincidence that all these parts all fit together. Like we all know, the NBA is better off not making it an issue and just zipping their lip about it. Really, there's no reason. And if you're going to make it a deterrent, you start taking some first-round picks.
Yeah, exactly.
But second-round pick in 2026, the whole organization will turn over by 2026, and no one's even going to remember. They're going to go to the draft prep, and they're going to be like, why don't we have a second-round pick? And everyone's going to be like, I
don't know. That's awesome. All right. King, any comments on that, or we move on?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Yeah. All right. So last thing I wanted to hit before we wrap up is just talk about a couple of games that are coming up, because we got some good ones. Friday night we got Suns at Golden State, so they're running it back. You guys see it playing out the same way? Because I'm probably going to bet Golden State at home. I don't have the line in front of me, but what are you guys' thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think it would be fitting, right? Split the back-to-back. Go with that. Yeah, I think Golden State wins. I think Steph plays much better at home. Yeah, I like Golden State.
Cool. All right. Excellent. All right. And then we got also on Friday night, we got Sixers at the Hawks, obviously a rematch of the playoff series. Hawks are playing a little better as of late. They got off to that slow start. But I think that's a good one. If everyone if Embiid plays, and it could be a decent game. But Coach, you're a Sixers fan. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I might tune in for the quarter and get ready for the Golden State game. Like I'm having a hard time getting excited about this Sixers group right now.
Yeah. Well,
can I jump in on that, Kev?
Sure.
Do we know the line yet for that game?
I'm looking for it. If I can find it, I'll let you know.
Because
I got Hawks are favored by 1.5 so far.
I love the Hawks in this game. So we said styles make fights, right? I think around this point in the season, a team that's going to be faster and quicker and get off the shots, like the Hawks will. I like the Hawks. I like the Hawks a lot by one, to be honest.
Yep, yeah, I'm seeing 1.5, and right now, there's Phoenix, Golden State. Golden State is 6.5 point favorite.
No.
Wow. All right, so Saturday, a couple of games, just worth talking about quickly. I want to see Miami at Milwaukee. It sucks that Brook Lopez is out. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. I forgot what the injury was. He actually had back surgery, so he's going to be out for a long time. But we got the Heat at Milwaukee, and we got Chicago at Brooklyn. You guys want to any thoughts on either one of those games?
No, but I haven't watched Brooklyn in a while. It's been a few, maybe a week since I watched Brooklyn play. And I'm going to tune into that. I want to see what they look like.
Yeah, and I want to see that. It's a good test for Chicago, so I'll probably check that one out too. King, any thoughts on that? Chicago at Brooklyn or Miami at Milwaukee? I can't get a line because it's Saturday.
Miami and Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right.
You see who establishes themselves as big. You know what I mean? Like as controlling stuff, like down low. I want to see if they keep Giannis out. Like they push him out the whole time. You know what I mean? They don't let him get in. That's how I think Miami wins. They're quick. They get guys who can shoot, but they're physical. So maybe they can keep Giannis from getting comfortable.
Pull like that wall up to keep them out. And then the last one on Sunday, probably the only. There's not that much going on Sunday, but the only fun game I saw was Charlotte at Atlanta. That should be a good one because Charlotte could be this year's Atlanta team. That's unexpected. That makes a long run, so that will at least be fun to watch. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that one. If not, one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up.
No, I'm good.
Cool. So, do you guys know what a trillion is? This is like a total nerd basketball.
I'll tell you what weirded me out. What weirded me out was someone told me that there was like 1,000,000 minutes in 11 days, and then it was 1,000,000,000 minutes in like 31 days. So I was like, wow, like 1,000,000,000 is that much more than 1,000,000? So that blew my mind away.
A lot more than 1,000,000, but that whoever gave you those little factoids was way off.
I think they're off, but
yes,
Why, how many seconds then?
is way less than 1,000,000,000. Way less.
Yeah, it was 30. It was 31.
1,000 less, right?
But in days, minutes wise, I think it was like 31 to like 11. Look it up for minutes.
1,000,000,000 minutes is more than a lifetime, I believe.
1,000,000,000 minutes? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's way more than a lifetime. Never mind 31 days. It's way more than a lifetime.
All right. So,
hey, by the way, Kev, I'm 13 pounds and like 13 stones and 8 pounds. You want to know why? Because the freaking thing that I bought, the stupid ass thing that I bought as a scale, for some reason is weighing me in stones.
That's awesome.
I'm like 13 foot, 13, what? 13 stone? What the is 13 stone? I'm really going, I'm 13 stone, 6 pounds? Why don't you tell me in pounds? I had to look it up.
I think a stone is like
186, I think is 13 pounds or something stupid like that. I'm between 13 and 14 stones, I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm like, man, hey, how much you weigh? Between 13, 14 stones.
Yeah, a stone is like 16 or 22 pounds, something like that. It's pretty big. But anyway, the point of the trillion thing is a stat geek thing. If you play, someone gets into the game a minute at the end of the game, has no field goal attempts, no field goals made, no free throw attempts, no free throws made, no rebounds, no assists, whatever else. It's just a 1 with all zeros in the box score. Geeks actually track that. That is a trillion because the numbers, if you write it all out, 1 with all those zeros becomes a trillion. So anyway, that's your stat geek fact of the week.
How did you find this out?
I heard it on a podcast. And awful.
Here you are, a guy calls himself a genius, and you calling these other guys stat geeks, but yet you knew this, so someone had it.
Well, no, I knew it. I'm telling you, I heard about it, so I'm telling you guys.
TJ, you believe that?
You're trying to talk about stone.
Yeah, I'm 13 stones and 8 pounds.
When you give your weight in stone, you don't say stones, you say stone. I know that from watching the strongman competition.
Yeah, I'm 13 stone.
So you get up there.
Yeah, you're right. You're 13 stones.
14 stone.
That's right. All right, gentlemen.
Why do you held yourself in stone? What the frig? Why? Who came up? That's not even. That's not metric. That's not. What is
British.
We can't make fun of stone when we're the only country in the world that doesn't use the fucking metric system. They're like, what did you come with an inch for? What the hell is an inch?
Dude, they tried so hard to incorporate the metric system with us, like around my age to your age, and we all sucked.
They
had to go back to.
They're like, no. Why? Why are we going to change our entire country to match what the rest of the world does?
Yep.
We're not going to change it. We're not changing our country for the world. Nope. All right, gentlemen. King, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I'm doing well in my fantasy league, Kev. I am still following my plan. I'm a very boring team to watch or to follow, but I have a lot of big guys, so I keep getting the job done. So for everybody in fantasy, I'm gonna say it again. I mean, I'm technically losing right now to Jesse's team because of like it's a couple categories where it's like 2 points or 2 different things difference. But it's because my field goal percentage has been the one that's failed me. My blocks, my rebounds, everything like that has been there. But field goal percentage, for some reason, like he's at 45, I'm at like 43. So, but I'm gonna get back at it.
So you have all these big guys. This field goal percentage should be one of the ones that you should, yeah.
I know, but what it is I got so, and what happened was Anthony Edwards just got hurt. I get Giddey's hurt, he's not playing, so he's got 2 guys on me there. But my big guys are Mobley, Vujicic, Embiid, and Nurkic.
Oh well, Embiid just ruined your field goal percentage for the week.
Yeah,
That's
what I'm saying. That's why it dropped. That's why it's lower than it should be. Yeah, I had a couple performances like those.
All right, Coach, your final thoughts.
Yeah, final thought real quick. The Wizards remain in the number 2 team in the East, but I do want to point out they are 2 games out of 10th place because that's how logjam the East is. So when I said the Wizards are not going to finish anywhere near the top, they're 2 games out of 10th place. So Couple thing here, couple thing here. We come back after Christmas. The Wizards will be right down the bottom of the pack where they belong. Take that.
So they're in second place and they're 2 games out of 10th.
You got it.
Look at that.
That poor team.
All right. We're going to wrap it up tonight. We're only 5.5 minutes over, so we'll take it. This is the Genius Kev for King Mike L, for the coach TJ, for Brother Ray in absentia. We're going to wrap up Legit Fantasy Basketball, the December 2nd edition. Tune in on Sunday morning for Legit Fantasy Football. We'll get you your winners there, your fantasy pickups for the week 13. Sunday night is Legit Paranormal, and then we'll be back for Legit Basketball on Monday night. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you this weekend.